Athens, a city perched atop the ancient rock of the Acropolis, known for its art, philosophy, and ideals of democracy. But the story of Athens is not just one of grandeur. It's a story of struggle, of conquest, and resilience. Today, we journey back in time to uncover how Athens rose to become the cultural capital of the ancient world, how it fell, and how its legacy has endured through the centuries. The story of Athens begins in myth. According to ancient legend, Athens was named after the goddess Athena. The myth goes that the gods Athena and Poseidon both desired to become the city's patron. Poseidon struck his trident into the ground, bringing forth a saltwater spring symbolizing naval power. Athena, however, offered an olive tree representing peace and prosperity. The people chose Athena as their protector, and the city was named in her honor. However, myths aside, Athens' early history is grounded in the practical. Long before recorded history, small Neolithic settlements dotted the region. These early Athenians fortified the Acropolis, a rocky outcrop overlooking the Aegean Sea, as a place of refuge and defense. As the city expanded, the Acropolis became a fortress and a sacred space, home to temples and altars dedicated to the gods. By the 8th century BCE, Athens had developed into a thriving city-state. But it was still primarily ruled by the elite, with power concentrated in the hands of wealthy landowners. This inequality would soon lead to tension and ultimately, transformation. By the 6th century BCE, Athens was on the brink of civil war. The wealthy aristocrats owned most of the land, and many of the poor had been forced into debt slavery. Enter Solon, a statesman and poet chosen by the people to reform the city's laws and prevent social collapse. Solon's reforms were sweeping. He canceled all debts and forbade debt slavery, freeing those who had been enslaved due to their inability to repay loans. He divided the citizens of Athens into 4 classes based on wealth, allowing for broader participation in governance. Solon's system wasn't fully democratic. Power was still limited to free men and mostly the wealthy, but it was revolutionary for its time. Solon's reforms laid the groundwork for what would later become democracy, and his vision planted the seeds for a society that valued civic participation and justice. However, this early form of government was far from perfect, and over the next century, Athens would experience periods of tyranny and internal conflict before achieving the democracy it's famous for today. By the 5th century BCE, Athens entered its golden age under the leadership of Pericles. Pericles was a visionary leader who championed the arts, democracy, and public works. His leadership transformed Athens into a city unlike any other in the ancient world. Athens became a hub for thinkers, artists, and scholars during this period. The Agora, Athens' central marketplace, was a place of trade and a gathering spot for intellectuals and philosophers. Socrates, the father of Western philosophy, would wander the Agora, questioning citizens about their beliefs and values. This period saw the birth of the Socratic method, a way of questioning that sought to uncover truth through dialogue and reason. The Athenians also excelled in the arts. The Parthenon, a temple dedicated to Athena, was constructed on the Acropolis and symbolized Athenian greatness. Sculptors like Phidias created masterpieces that captured the human form with stunning realism. Playwrights such as Sophocles and Euripides brought human drama to life in ways that had never been seen before, using theater as a space to explore morality, fate, and the nature of gods and men. This cultural explosion was supported by the wealth generated from the Delian League, an alliance of city-states led by Athens. The League's treasury allowed Athens to fund its ambitious projects but also created resentment among other Greek states, especially Sparta. Athens' wealth and influence grew, but so did the tensions that would eventually lead to its downfall. The Peloponnesian War, fought between Athens and Sparta, was a devastating conflict that lasted nearly 3 decades. The war began as a struggle for dominance over the Greek world, with Athens' naval empire clashing against Sparta's formidable land forces. At first, Athens seemed poised for victory. Its navy was unmatched, and its control over the sea allowed it to supply the city even when Sparta invaded the Athenian countryside. However, an unforeseen disaster struck. A plague ravaged Athens and killed a third of its population, including Pericles himself. The war took its toll on Athens' spirit. Over time, the Athenians began questioning the values and ideals that once united them. Internal strife and shifting alliances weakened their position. After a brutal series of battles and sieges, Sparta finally defeated Athens in 404 BCE, ending the Golden Age. Athens lost its empire, wealth, and for a time, its democracy. But despite the loss, Athens remained a cultural beacon. Even in defeat, its legacy as the intellectual heart of Greece would continue. Following its defeat, Athens struggled to regain its former glory, but it would soon be caught up in the rise of a new power, Macedon. Under the leadership of King Philip II and later his son Alexander the Great, Macedon unified Greece and conquered vast territories across Asia and Egypt. Under Macedonian rule, Athens retained some autonomy, but its influence was limited. However, Alexander, an admirer of Greek culture, encouraged the spread of Hellenistic ideals across his empire. Greek philosophy, art, and science were introduced to distant lands, blending with local cultures to create a new intellectual and artistic growth era. Though no longer an empire, Athens became a learning center within Alexander's sprawling domain. Philosophers like Aristotle taught students who would go on to influence history, and the city's schools attracted scholars from across the world. Athens' legacy continued even as its power faded. By the 2nd century BCE, Rome had risen to power, eventually conquering Greece. However, Rome viewed Athens not as a mere province but as a source of cultural inspiration. Roman generals and politicians admired Greek philosophy and art, and many Romans came to Athens to study. Though the city lost its political autonomy, Athens enjoyed a privileged status. It became a university city known for its academies and philosophical schools. The Stoics and Epicureans debated the nature of life, the universe, and the gods. Roman elites sent their sons to Athens to be educated, cementing the city's role as the intellectual heart of the Roman Empire. Athens' influence extended beyond philosophy. Its architecture, sculpture, and literature inspired Roman creations. Though worn with time, the Parthenon remained a symbol of artistic perfection. Even as it was absorbed into the Roman world, Athens held on to its identity as a beacon of knowledge and culture. Athens' legacy endures. Its ideas on democracy, philosophy, and art have shaped Western civilization. The ancient Athenians' belief in the power of reason, the value of civic participation, and the pursuit of knowledge continue to influence modern societies. Today, the ruins of Athens attract millions of visitors. The Acropolis reminds us of a time when human thought and creativity reached new heights. Athens' philosophers, playwrights, and artists left behind works that still resonate, challenging us to question, create, and strive for a just society. In the end, Athens' story is one of resilience. Through war, conquest, and decline, it has remained a city of ideas, a cultural capital transcending the ages. Its rise, fall, and legacy remind us of the enduring power of human aspiration. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the rise, fall, and legacy of Athens, a city that changed the world and whose influence can still be felt today. If you enjoyed this exploration, please like, subscribe, and share to help others discover the incredible stories of history. And remember to hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode from Explore Heist. Want to dive deeper into ancient history? Comment below with the historical cities and civilizations you'd love us to cover next. At Explore Hist, we're dedicated to bringing the past to life, one story at a time.